Thank you. So good evening. Thank you for waiting. I'm Dan Thomas. I'm the Communications Director and the spokesperson for the President of the United Nations General Assembly. Thank you for coming to this media stakeout following today's informal dialogue of the General Assembly. I'm here to introduce Ambassador Natalia Gherman, former Deputy Prime Minister and former Minister of Foreign Affairs and European Integration of her country Moldova, which has nominated her as a candidate for the position of the next Secretary General of the United Nations. Ma'am, the floor is yours.
Good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen. We just had a very inspiring, a very rewarding, interactive, informal dialogue with the General Assembly, and I would like very much to start by welcoming the new features that the General Assembly and its President brought to the selection of the next Secretary General, which is increased transparency and inclusiveness. And I also want to highlight that this time the women candidates for the position of the Secretary General are very much encouraged. And I'm very pleased to be the official candidate on behalf of my country, the Republic of Moldova. And I also think that the new features of the selection process give all of us all the chances to carry our message across, to share our vision, our position, and our values with the member states of the United Nations. And that is, as I said, an extraordinary, rewarding experience for me personally. I would also like to tell you that I decided to become the candidate for the position of the Secretary General because, first and foremost, I do believe that the principles and values enshrined in the Charter of the United Nations remain valid today as they were before, and if not more. And probably nowadays the global community is in need, even more than ever before, of a strong, of an efficient and effective United Nations. And the United Nations continues to be the best manifestation of the commitment of global community to act in a coordinated and united way. And there are so many challenges and so many threats, from eradicating poverty to respecting human rights and defending the scourge of war and international terrorism, to saving our planet. And here we are, the United Nations. If it didn't exist, we would have had to invent it, obviously. And it takes nowadays a stronger United Nations to deliver on the purposes and expectations of our citizens. And I'm absolutely sure that the next Secretary General would have important tasks of continuing to reform the organization in order to deliver, making it stronger, performing better, in order to deliver on the expectations of the global citizens. So thank you very much. I'm looking forward to your questions.
Now, Evelyn Leopold, your country has lost at least partial control over its eastern flank. Do you see the same thing happening in Ukraine, and what measures would you like to see resolved for Ukraine?
If we look into the Charter of the United Nations, which I said remains to be just as relevant, as valid now as it used to be when the United Nations was created, we obviously see the very important set of principles and provisions. And the crucial ones obviously refer to the sovereignty and territorial integrity of the member states of the United Nations. It is valid for my own country, Moldova. It is valid for our neighbor, Ukraine. In the very same way, it has to be valid for any other member states of the United Nations. And all our efforts should be, of course, directed to respecting and implementing all provisions of the Charter, including these ones. Thank you.
It's Rhonda Halbin, and I'm a blog columnist for Die Tageszeitung at the TOTS website. And my question is, you speak about delivering for the citizens, and it's good to hear that. But my question is, have you had experience hearing from the debate of the citizens and that being helpful in your career in order to make some of the hard decisions and the complex decisions that need to be made in circumstances where government officials may not understand what is underlying and what the real problems are? Thank you.
It has been a continuous process for the last 25 years in my professional career, which actually coincided with an important effort of state building and state consolidation in my native country, the Republic of Moldova, because we had to start from the point where the level of poverty was very high, and only recently we reached the status of middle income country. We had, of course, to operate in conditions where the sustainable development objectives required the consolidated effort and partnership throughout the whole of our society, because we had to deliver first and foremost on the economic stability, on important access of our citizens to health services, to education, and make sure that we build institutions that would be responding in a very honest and efficient manner to the needs of the citizens. And we also started from the point where we, after subscribing to important documents and conventions in the field of human rights, had to set the institutions being mindful and oriented towards respect for human rights and human dignity in our country, and uphold the standards reflected in the Charter and in the Universal Declaration of Human Rights. And so if you look into the complexity of tasks operating in conditions of very often instability inside the country, economic financial crisis, and a very challenging regional environment, then you can only succeed if you have this constant dialogue and you listen carefully to the needs of your own citizens. And I mentioned today, while participating in the informal dialogue, that we benefited a lot from a very active participation of the civil society in the Republic of Moldova. We draw on their expertise, we draw on their commitment, we draw on the fact that the civil society representatives are the agents of change and the agents of progress, and their participation was crucial. So I will be very much in favor of actually applying the same practice and the same attitude in the United Nations, provided that I'm elected the Secretary General of the organization, and building on the existing practices in the ECOSOC, for example. And actually right after our this press meeting, I will be going to participate in a debate organized by and with the civil society for a group of candidates for the position of the Secretary General. And I would not like to miss this, because this is extraordinarily enriching from my point of view, be it here at the global level or be it national or regional level. Thank you.
I should have said at the beginning that we promised to get the ambassador out of here by 5:30 so she can make her next appointment with the other candidates. I think we have time for just one last question, and then we must let the ambassador go. So there's a question to this young lady here.
Thank you, Ms. Gherman. I'm Oke Bebiak with the German press agency. During the hearing, you said that the next Secretary General needs to be the General of the Secretariat and the Secretary of the Member States. What does that look like in real life, especially given that so many times it seems that the Secretary General's hands are tied by Member States?
And I could reiterate exactly what I said at the debate, because obviously you have to be both, And obviously, that job requires very strong leadership skills. And apart from the leadership skills, you have to be a skillful team player, because the Secretariat is an important tool and instrument at the disposal of the Secretary General, and in order to deliver on the mandates that are entrusted to the Secretariat by the member states, it has to perform very actively. And I also explained my vision on what should be undertaken if the Secretariat were to deliver better, faster, more coherent, including the recruitment policy, the career planning, meritocracy, professionalism, but also the right gender balance and equitable geographical representation. But first and foremost, integrity and accountability has to be manifested by the Secretary General herself or himself, and by all the members of the Secretariat. And we should never forget that the Secretary General has also an important role to play in ensuring connectivity and unity, which is a very important word, in the activity of the Security Council, the General Assembly, and all other bodies. And a good Secretary General should be the facilitator of that unity and enabling all the bodies, including the Security Council and the General Assembly, to act in delivering on the joint purposes. It has to be the purpose-driven exercise. And we should never forget that the United Nations is an organization of the member states. So member states have their own expectations from the Secretary General and the Secretariat. And it takes a good Secretary General to listen to the member states, to consult with the member states, and to have their full trust before an important action, including the reform action, is being undertaken. It's all about the partnerships that are going to be created, and the ownership that each would feel and have in this very sophisticated at times process. Thank you. Thank you very much.
We did promise that we would let the ambassador leave.
Thank you very much.
On time to make our next meeting. Thank you very much indeed.
Thank you very much.